Hey guys, Carter97 again, once again with some more new loot. We're gonna start off with the convention loot, and from there on we're gonna make our way onto the video game loot. And just like my 160 scale new loot video, the loot today, well, some of it has been hanging around for quite a while others have arrived like almost literally yesterday. So, I'm gonna start off with the convention loot, which, man, that convention was like all the way back in at the end of October, so over a month ago. And a few of the most important things I got: mangas! Yes, the mangas were actually some of the best things I got, which also means that even though Facts is supposed to be one of the biggest anime, fantasy, sci-fi, whatever else you might consider geeky things, including games, even though it was bigger than all the previous editions, it was by far the most disappointing edition. We got a Dot Hawk manga, also the only English one, mainly because English ones are bloody expensive here, but this one was a used one which went for €5, which, well, they usually go for $9.99, and the sellers around here consider equaling dollar and euro a convention special bargain, so that's like the bargain price they're getting here. So quite literally, for 2 English mangas, I can get 3 French mangas. We got Magi, 1, 2, 3. Thinking about it now, I should have bought some more. And Fairy Tail 17 to 20. Maybe I should have also bought a few more Fairy Tales. From Pika Edition, my favorite French manga company. Alright, getting the mangas out of the way. Next up, I also got 2 figurines from Keroro Gunso. Natsumi, with some quite, well, a little bit off on her face, her eyes. They're a bit too close together, I'd say. But hey, we've got Giredo making the whole thing awesome. And then also got older Natsumi. These two were on sale, they were half the price. This one was €10, that one was €15, so, well, these two just look great, especially with Giredo here and Keroro there. These 2 figures are really nice. And for half the price, I had to pick them up. Then the other best thing I got, F-Zero and Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo, so now I can finally say that I really have a Super Nintendo. I mean, who the fuck owns a Super Nintendo and doesn't have at least one Mario game? And of course, F-Zero, probably one of the best racing games. And finally, also Final Fantasy X. I can't remember if I paid €5 or €10 for this. Whichever one it is, it's a good deal, especially considering everyone else was selling Final Fantasy X for over €20. I mean, I've seen at least 3 copies going for over €20. But hey, that means that at least when I try to resell it, I'll make profit. Also, these ones I got like, I got both of them for like €20, I think. So I did a pretty good deal on these 2 as well. And that was all of my convention loot. So I walked around the entire day and that was everything I got. Like I said, usually I do spend a bit more. I mean, especially at Facts, that's usually the convention I go to buy stuff. But yeah, it turned out to be a pretty meh loot, to put it like that. I usually look forward to that convention a whole year to buy a lot, but I was kind of disappointed, so I saved up for nothing. And as always, the Gunpla was bloody expensive. Then some other stuff I got for the Super Nintendo. I also have the Super Game Boy, because I really like Game Boy games. I got Super Mario All-Stars for €18, and you'll never guess where I bought it. And from the same store, I also got The Legend of Heroes: Trails in the Sky. And I actually bought this because my mentality is, if I go to like a new store, or I go to a yard sale, or I go to a convention, I always want to come back with something like a new loot. Like, you go on a quest, you want to bring something back as a reward. And this one was brand new, was still sealed, was €50, so, well, it was a bit on the expensive side, I would say. Especially this one was already a bit old. I think it was 2001 release. 2011. But it is the special edition, which includes the full game. I mean, what, if you buy the normal edition, you're only getting half of the game? That would be quite logical to get a full game. Well, actually, I say logical, but there is a shitload of DLC going on right now. So yeah, maybe that is actually a selling point. And that would mean that the gaming industry has become quite sad if you have to advertise that you're getting the full game and that you don't have to download any DLC. Well, moving on, we also get 5 art cards. Yay, 5 cardboard postcards, but at least they were nice. And the CD soundtrack. So yeah, as far as special editions go, this one might be the weakest of them all, but at least we got some nice bonuses. And I gotta say, even though I took a gamble, I'd never heard of this series before, never played any of the games. Yeah, like I said, never heard of it. So usually that's not exactly a good sign, but I gotta say, this game is really, really amazing. Characters are really likable, gameplay is awesome. And yeah, even though the title, The Legend of Heroes, seems extremely generic, the game is really nice. And then, moving on, one special thing I got, Pokemon Crystal, in pretty much near mint condition, as new as you're getting it. And this one actually has a pretty funny story, because at the Photoshop lesson, there was a girl next to me who I know, and we were talking about some random stuff. I really don't remember what we were talking about, but at some point it was relevant to mention that I had my Game Boy with me with Pokemon, and like, do you remember the time with Pokemon? And she was like, oh yeah, that was fun. And then I randomly asked her, so you don't happen to have Crystal or Gold, do you? And to my extreme amazement, she said yes, that she had those too. And I have Silver, so I needed those two to complete the second generation. And she also said that she wanted to sell them. So yeah, I was pretty dumbfounded at that moment. But then when she said the price, she wanted 15 euros each. And I was like, well, that was later that night on Facebook. So I kind of didn't reply to that. But then the next Photoshop lesson, she brought the games, she brought Crystal with her. And I was about ready to say, well, 15 euros is like a bit too much. But then, out of her bag, she didn't take a game. She never mentioned that she had the entire box with the manual and stuff. Then she took the entire box out of it, and I just said, I was about to say, no thank you, I don't think I'll take the deal. But I very quickly changed my mind to saying, yes please. So, I gotta say, the only thing miss about the box is that this is where the sticker was pulled off. Then, other stuffs I got. Mega Man 3 for the Game Boy, and these games really are as hard as everyone seems to say. And probably someone in the comments is going to point out that this game is like way more easy than the console version or something. Depressing me even more, because this game is really, really hard. Double Dragon 2, also for Game Boy. Well, I played a little bit, seems a bit button mashy, and hope that something good happens. Then we have sealed Pokemon White. It's not sealed, it's seal. Yeah, this is from, oh yeah, and all this stuff is from the guy at the flea market, at which I also work, so I go there every week to check up if he has new interesting stuff with him. Got Riven, sequel to Mist, which I haven't played yet. Tenchu Stealth Assassins. Yeah, this was like 2 euros, so I decided why the fuck not give it a go. I mean, it has ninja, so how bad can it be, really? And it's about stealth Activision, I guess that can't be that horrible. Bullet Witch, an average, I don't even know what this was anymore. Shoot 'em up, beat 'em up, probably something like that. Glorious environmental damage. Yeah, I think this game got pretty weak reviews. It was even made by Atari? Well, I guess that's why I thought it was going to be at least somewhat decent. So yeah, the 2 euros for an Xbox 360 game. Yeah, gotta say the guy prices games accordingly. But after a depressing game, Okami for the PlayStation 2 for 8 euros. And well, I got like a little bit off, so that's probably like 7 euros. But hey, Okami, the cult game, I've heard a lot about this game, and now I'm finally going to be able to check it out myself. And finally we have Pokemon Colosseum. But not just any Pokemon Colosseum. Pokemon Colosseum in Spanish. Modo combate, la liga del más fuerte. Modo historia, salvados a todos. And I'm gonna stop right here because I really can't remember my Spanish classes at all. It's been way too long ago and I forgot everything about Spanish. No sé hablar español. Dos cervezas, por favor. And I can't believe I just made a reference that only people from Belgium are going to get. And then I also went to a yacht sale, and similarly to the convention, it was the most depressing yard sale ever. This was everything I got for an entire fucking day of cycling around, and I'm really happy a friend joined me, because otherwise I would have probably gone crazy out of my mind. By noon, this was the only thing I had bought. Seriously, similar story to the Legend of Heroes game I bought. We'd been walking around for half a day, and this was the only close thing to something I wanted that I found. It was €1, released by Manga, which I think has gone defunct by now, but at the time this was like the only company releasing anime related things, even though they are called manga. I don't think they actually released any mangas. They only made like anime DVDs and apparently also CDs. Manga Mania. And don't get your hopes up, this is essentially a bunch of generic techno with English dub mixed in between, so it's not that fantastically good. And if this was the only thing I would have gotten for walking around an entire goddamn day, I would have been royally pissed off. But then, as we were returning home, literally this was the final garage I checked out, I found Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening Special Edition, which isn't actually that special. Okay, I changed my mind. Legend of Heroes isn't the most pathetic special edition, or, well, least impressive. This is by far the most pathetic special edition because you're not actually getting anything special other than the game. Woohoo! So yeah, this was €1. So hey, at least I got something for walking around an entire day. Well, actually not walking around, we were all on bikes, so we were cycling around. And then, probably saved the best for last, a shitload of Japanese games. First Game Boy game here, a loose Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Monsters Game Boy. And if you don't know what Capsule Monster is, you're probably not a big Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan. I don't think this was shown in the mainstream anime, it was shown in Season 0. So yeah, this is actually an interesting game, since it's not about the mainstream anime but about the manga. Or maybe the anime adaptation. I'm actually looking forward to giving this a shot. Haven't tried it yet because I'm still playing something else on my Game Boy. Metalrod 4 Kuwagata version. This is extremely hard to find for a decent price. Even loose cards go for like, man, I don't know, $40 or something. And the best thing of it all is it's actually the Kabuto version. It has the manual and the cards of the Kuwagata version, but it came with the Kabuto version. And this is actually a good thing, because the Kabuto version is much more expensive to get on eBay, and this means that I can just buy the Kuwagata version and have a complete Kuwagata version. And I gotta say, this was like, man, I don't know, 10 euros or something? For a boxed set, that's a great deal if I've ever seen that. That's such an awesome deal. And then I also got Metalrod Parts Collection 2. And no, I have no idea in what way this is different from Parts Collection 1. Only different thing is that you're now playing as a guy. I am a stupid consumer, don't judge me. Then Metalrod 3, everything included. I already had Metalrod 3 as a single card, as the card alone, but now we get everything. Manual, a bunch of cards, so, and even a medal. Even, the funny thing is, this is a Kabuto version, yet we're getting a Kuwagata medal, so I'm only going to assume that we're getting a Kabuto medal with the Kuwagata version, because the cards in here are actually the ones for the Kabuto version, so I'm pretty sure that, well, it's correct. And then Super Famicom games. Yes, I don't have a Super Famicom yet at this point in time. It's still on its way from Japan. Should arrive sometime this week. And by the time this video is uploaded, I might already have it. So this is GX SD Gundam. And when we look at the back here, you may or may not know, but when you look at Gunpla, these last numbers here mean the price in yen. So did this game actually cost 9,800 yen? Like, wow, that's 100 bucks for a Super Famicom game. That is hardcore. But that can't be right, but still, that would be, whoa. Then we got Street Fighter 2 Turbo, SD Gundam, Super Gashapon World, and when I look at this, I get the feeling that these two might be somewhat similar. Especially when you look at the screenshots, they look vaguely familiar. Then we're gonna wrap up with some Yu-Gi-Oh games. We have an adventure role-playing game. No, because when you look at video of this, it's not at all an adventure role-playing game. It's exactly like, Pocket Station. I didn't know that. Another use for my Pocket Station. Maybe I can finally play a decent game on my Pocket Station. I'll no longer have to use exclusively for that damn Janken Pon Love Hina game. Okay, that's pretty awesome. This game is already worth it now. Man! Yeah, adventure role-playing game. No! You play a card game. You play a children's card game. That is not an adventure. And that, well, technically you're playing... No, actually you're playing as yourself, because you're not playing as Yugi, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, adventure role-playing game? I think somebody would have been really disappointed if they bought this back then, thinking that they were going to get an adventure role-playing game. Because no, you play card games. And this is apparently a simulation game. And this is also the Capumon game. Breed and Battle Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster Capsule. See, I'm actually really looking forward to trying this game. The only unfortunate thing is, it's a little bit smashed up. I wasn't quite expecting that. He didn't mention that. But yeah, overall, this game, it looks pretty interesting for Japan only. Didn't expect that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to trying the Capsule Monsters game. And that was about all the new loot I got. Unfortunately, this new loot also came with free basement smell, which wasn't actually all that pleasant. Also, some of the games were in not quite clean plastic bags. Let's put this to the side. Oh yeah, one final thing I really have to say about the convention loot is, it was the absolute ludicrousness of the convention was that they had a team there to promote the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon X and Y games, but at no place, nowhere were they actually selling the games. And it's not like I missed it. I went up to one of the promo guys and I asked, hey, this game actually looks pretty good. Where can I get it around here? And he said to me, well, unfortunately, you can't buy it here. And call me crazy, but when you're having a promotion about a new game that is actually already released, you might, just might, want to sell the game somewhere close to where you're fucking promoting it. Call me crazy. And yeah, I was actually expecting to go to the convention, not buy a lot, and come home with a 3DS and a Pokemon X and Y in some kind of bundle game, I don't know. But alas, I guess I can continue my 3DS boycott because Nintendo decided to put region lock on the goddamn thing. So, yeah, I guess that's at least one thing I can be consistent on. No 3DS for me. Well, I still got Pokemon Silver. and I gotta catch them all anyways. So yeah, I guess that is about everything for this new loot. And see you guys next time. Oh yeah, and 2 final things I almost forgot about. Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon Best Wishes drinks. The Pokemon is just standard lemonade. And it also is one of those funny bottles that has like a top that you have to push in, and then it releases a little bubble there. And then it all starts to get fizzy, it overflows a little bit, and tastes kind of like lemonade bubble gum thing. It was actually pretty good, a bit on the weak side, but still pretty good, unlike the Dragon Ball drink. Now, let's think. Dragon Ball, and you have to make a drink that is related to Dragon Ball. What kind of drink would you go for? I don't know, Red Bull, an energy drink, Coke. Well, if you thought Coke, you'd be close. But what kind of Coke? Coke Zero. Unfortunately, by the time I realized that this was Cola Zero, when I decided to read this damn thing, it was already too late. This thing was €3, this was a whopping €5. And that was actually the cheapest I could find. Other places were selling it for, well, other stands were selling it for like 6, and I think even one was selling it for 7, which was way too much. This one was 5, and yeah, I absolutely hate Cola Zero, Cola Light, and pretty much any of those Diet Coke things that are supposed to taste like actual Coke, but don't taste anything like cola. Well, Coca-Cola at all. So yeah, that was a pretty horrible experience. I might regret buying it a little bit, but hey, at least I still have the can. So that's something. Well, this time it's really all, and see you guys next time.